I just hit go live, you guys.
All right.
Screw this banter. Now it's down to business.
Banter is what makes jokes.
Exactly right. Facebook. Wake up, people. It's morning out here, even in the West Coast. The rooster has risen. We're out here. It looks like I've got a fake background at a casino, but I'm really at a casino saving money on Wi Fi. And I'm here with two great people. Down at the bottom, you will see, we'll start with seniority if you don't mind, Catherine. Down at the
Oh,
bottom box, you have Helaine Witt. She is a veteran of comedy. She started at the Holy City Zoo. Well, she might have started before then, but she was at the Holy City Zoo with Robin Williams. She got to watch him bloom and go beyond. She's written jokes for decades. She has two Facebook accounts, and she writes jokes for everybody's birthdays if they want them. You know, me, I would do it whether they want it or not, but she's nice. She's amazing. She writes jokes and submits them places. Joan Rivers bought two of her jokes and used them on the Johnny Carson show. And then on the top box, we have from Louisville, Kentucky,
Lexington.
Lexington, same thing. I'm kidding. From Kentucky, the state that sounds like KY jelly, but it isn't. Catherine Perkins came on the show and impressed the socks off of me with her natural funny ability. She's been doing comedy for about years, 4 years. And she and I both have something in common. We're both brain damaged, so we ain't got no filter. You're welcome. So let's see what Helaine Weiss Witt can do with us today. We're going to just throw out some premises and get each other's help, and you get to watch us help each other. So what I'd like to do is see what you each would like to say as a beginning thing about being here and writing jokes and working with groups, experiences you've had in the past doing that. So I'll start with Helaine because she has, no offense, seniority in quite a few different ways.
Okay, well,
Not
first
to
I want
mention
to
age.
say Linda took some facts about me and just didn't make up anything, but the way she said them turned it into something so much bigger than what it was that I have to use that in my comedy now. Because first of all, Joan Rivers bought about 10 jokes and she did say 2. That's accurate. And when Linda says I've been in it all these years, in my way I look at it like you've been in comedy all these years and that's all you've done is paid for 10 people to come to your mics every single friggin' week in New York City. And so Linda made every fact sound so beautiful. She's been in it for all these years. She started with Robin Williams. No, Robin Williams would walk in the room and us open micers would slink off the stage really fast. That's how much I work with Robin Williams. That's so funny how you can take a fact and just make it so beautiful. That's very funny. That's like someone looking at a dandelion and saying, look at those beautiful flowers on my lawn. That's all I have to say.
Thank you for cracking me up, Helaine Weiss Witt. Catherine Perkins, what would you like to say for your opening argument?
My opening argument. Oh my goodness. One is I don't do courts of law. 2, I don't do doctors because they're all fucked up. No, I'm sorry. Well, I'd like to say that I am healing from my brain injury thanks to comedy, poetry, and music. I just got through blowing for about 30 minutes because after I blow and do this, I have to go mow grass to make some money. But I don't write jokes very well. So I thought this would be very, very good for me.
Wow. Aren't you special? That's
Oh.
so you're so special. Why, honey child, I have a mint julep in Kentucky.
And the worst part is if I even think of a one-liner or a joke, by the time I find pen and paper, I don't remember what I just thought of. So.
Boy, can I relate. Boy, can I relate. We all need help writing because we're all on a journey. No matter where we're at in comedy, we can always do better. and the nice thing about us artists is we're never satisfied either. So, you know, trust me when I say that my ask Helaine, if you look back on my pages of Facebook, everything I ever thought I put on Facebook, and some of it stinks. So yeah, I get it. Helaine, what do you have to say to what Kathleen just said? Catherine just
I
said.
said, God bless her that she's going to go mow lawns. I know that from what she told me, she's had some physical hardship. So when she said she's going to go mow lawns to make money, I feel like setting up a Venmo right this minute and sending her some money. I'm not kidding. That's all that's there.
I do it. I do it on a riding mower. Helaine, don't worry. The worst part about the riding mower is I have to wear sports bras that are 2 sizes too small to strap me in to keep me from hurting my pectoral muscles from all the bounce. And the dust can be the dirt can be a little offensive, but
Wow. So do you have, Catherine, do you have anything, any certain topic that you've been like stuck writing that Helaine and I can help you with? Or Helaine, or do you have anything? Or Helaine, do you want to talk about your pet peeves listening to other comics? Or where do you want to
First, I
go,
think
Helaine? Do you
I'd
want
like
to start?
Catherine to answer that question. Does she have anything in particular right now, right off the top, that she'd like help with, or she's working with, that she'd like to run by us? That's what I want to
Yes.
say.
Cool.
well, I actually do. I've been trying to work my set around the fact that I have issues. And I write lots of limericks. So I usually start with the limerick because that helps trigger memory for me in certain areas. So one of the issues that I haven't really touched on because I don't know how to make it funny, but to me it's really funny, are toilet seats.
Okay.
That now they make them all plastic. So when you sit on the toilet seat cover and try to cut your toenails over the tub, the cover caves in and sometimes they crack. And I'm like, how? This is ridiculous. You can't sit on the toilet and do anything. So, you know, my brain is like, well, where do people have sex when? Because I've done it on a toilet a time or two, just saying, but not saying.
So you want to take it there to sex from cutting your toenails? Does
No,
does cutting your toenails remind you of sex? Is that
no, Linda, it doesn't. I'm just saying that trying to cut my toenails makes me think about how some stupid asshole created a toilet seat you can't sit on anymore.
Oh, there we go.
Toilet seat cover. And I just want to know why we're inventing shitty shit. Why I'm subject to it.
That's a good question.
So I don't know how to go about making that, bringing that in, because I do start off with, 64. I'll have to change that to 65 in a week. And I've got issues.
Happy birthday early.
Thank you. I've got issues. One of them is I've got a leak that I can't plug with tissues. The other is my memory sucks and I can no longer duck.
Your memory sucks and you can no longer what?
Duck or fuck. But I probably could. I'm just afraid to.
When your memory sucks and you can't duck, is that just is there a reason why you say that?
Well, I did say the other word first.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
I can't fornicate.
Okay.
But my vagina suffers from disuse.
It suffers from what?
Disuse. It has to rhyme with issues and tissues, so disuse is what I said.
Disuse. Oh, got it.
And so then I can go into, having a leak. And that's another, issue that I've tried to make funny. And I sometimes accomplish that by saying, I have to wear pee pads. And my God, I don't know how drag queens can tape their dicks back because I can barely handle the adhesive of my pee pad when it turns the wrong way on my ass. And people are like, ha, ha, poor lady. but so I was just wondering how to bring the actual inventions of the toilet and how it's failing in some ways.
I love that.
And I instead of going into just my personal incapability of holding my bladder, I also think about toilet paper. Why are we spending money on something we throw away, right?
Got it.
All the time.
Why don't we just throw the money down the toilet?
Yeah, we're throwing the money down the toilet.
Get a bidet and call it a day.
And in Japan, did you know that everybody, even the poor people, have Toto toilets if they have toilets? And they even blow dry you. They do everything. They bidet you and blow dry you. And here we are throwing money down the toilet.
Yes.
So what have you got, Helaine?
Let's go to Helaine.
Well, since Linda said that was hysterical, and since we're both doing this together, I would like Linda's to go first. Would that be okay, Linda?
Absolutely. Thank you for moderating my show for me. Okay. So Helaine ducks from out of view of the camera while she flips me off down below.
She's eating.
I know. She's doing my impression of DB Cooper. And so it's an inside joke. So here's what I have to say about what all you said. I'm kind of like a sneaky fart, suggestively dirty comic. I'm more suggestively, you're more straight up in your face, shock jock kind of material. And so I think that, and there's neither good nor bad in the business. There's room for every kind. You get to make a choice on what your style is going to be, what your persona is going to be. Do you want people to remember you as the person that has issues? Do you want people at this time, maybe down the road, you don't? You can change your persona, you can change your vantage point, you get all these so since I can't really speak to the direct things like drag queens and their penises and vaginas, I don't go there. But what I can speak to, because I think you've got great premises and great thoughts, and I can see all of it becoming 15 minutes with act outs. I see comedy gold in what you're saying, and I think that it could be done, and I see one way to deliver it, and I could be totally wrong, and Helaine can nix it, and you can like either one of us or none of us, neither one of us. So what I see happening is where you could go up on stage and say, I have issues. I got bumped off of a horse, and say a punchline to that, knock the sense into me, because I think that I'm a little smarter than the rest of you. For instance, when I go to the bathroom, we put her, sit on the toilet and put her feet up on the bathtub ledge to clip our toenails, right? Don't we, ladies? You sneak in there when your man's trying to rest, and those toenails have to be perfect. You don't want him sucking your toes. He's got that foot fetish. Toes gotta be perfect. You're sitting on the toilet and the toilet seat breaks. Then you have to sneak out the door, run to Home Depot, and say, I don't know what kind of toilet seat it is. Don't bother me with what kind of hinges. Just give me a freaking toilet seat. I have to buy the whole thing because the toilet, why don't you make these better? You make the seat strong and the cover you make for shit. And they're always breaking. And I got to have my toes perfect for my man. He's not going to suck these fungusy toes if their toenails are goofy ass, I can see this just going on forever, where you just stream of consciousness talking about how you feel and all the possible things. You're at Home Depot and there's no toilet seats at eye level. You got to call for customer service. and it happens to be the cutest guy in the world with the buff muscles, and he has to go and get a ladder and go way up top to get it and bring it down. Then they need a price check on the goddamn thing, and you're at the register and they're like, how much is this heavy duty toilet seat cover, you know, for the lady at aisle 3? And you're like, shit, I should have just gone to Rite Aid and got condoms for all the, you know, I could have been embarrassed at Rite Aid. You know, like this could be a whole entire spin.
Right.
Of, you know, I've got issues. Yeah, I get it. I fell off a horse, but I think it knocked sense into me and then every time you get on stage, you could have the same beginning. You know, I've got issues, but I think it knocks sense into me because I don't know about you. When you go to Starbucks, like, don't you think it's kind of ridiculous? And you could have that as your lead in every time.
Yeah.
And you don't really have to go into the brain injury.
Right. And that would work well if I decided to talk about toilet paper too, you know.
Exactly.
To me because I was just wiping the other day and I had to first they're making the rolls shorter and less absorbent. So I'm used to have a roll and I'm thinking I'm just throwing money down the toilet. It costs more during COVID. Jesus. So that's a great idea.
There you go. That's just all I can think of in the moment, but I took notes and I'll look them over later on this week too to see if I come up with anything else. Helaine, you've been listening and you have great stuff. So you might have she usually has a whole different take on it.
Wow. Well, first of all, Catherine, to be very honest, I perform at libraries for seniors and assisted living and nursing homes. And although I'm capable of going the other way, like dirty, I call it dirty and clean. I am capable of going dirty, but I tend to shy away from subject area like toilets and peeing and vaginas and all that. But that's me.
Well,
I hope that's okay to say on Facebook. That's me. Yeah. So when I hear comics talking too much about the quote unquote beginning of your subject area, I make a judgment in my own head. So I'm going to say two things. One is, as you spoke about Japan and what they have, that was very knowledgeable of you. It was interesting. It was something people don't know. So that part of what you said was like away from the what I call toilet bowl humor. That's what I call it. You know, I'm old fashioned. That's me. So I want to say that going for that other information about how they do it in Japan was I like that part, but then we'd have to make that funny. Okay. The other thing I want to say is when you said people snickered did you use the word snicker like somebody snickers? Is that the word you used?
Might have been.
Okay. I find that what people say in the Zoom or on stage matters to me. And I don't always pay attention because I'm in the moment trying to survive. That's why I take myself. But on the Zoom, sometimes they're muted, sometimes they're not paying attention, and sometimes they laugh. Like once Linda and I discussed, and I'm saying this to you as for a reason, I'm not going off on a tangent. Linda and I discussed, were the laughs loud? Did they come from XYZ person? You know, who did they come from on the Zoom? And did they come at the beginning or the end? So we're paying attention, not just to what we said and if we got laughter. She actually and I were dissecting the laughter, which is another part of what we're doing today. But when you said they snicker, you want to say to yourself, do I want my jokes to bring a snicker, a groan, like puns sometimes bring a groan? Do I want to bring a snicker, a groan? Do I want them to laugh at all? Which, yes, you do. Do you want them to laugh their head off like Linda does? Linda's the best laugher when you're in a show. Mike, you hear Linda on your tape recorder. She's laughing even now, like she gives these great laughs. So what are you going for? If you say people snicker over a certain joke, you're saying two things to me. They're laughing at all. Yay. Because sometimes I don't get any laughs. They're laughing at all. And B, how are they laughing? is a snicker like, oh my God, that's gross. You're talking about a bowel movement. You know what I mean? Like, is it that kind of snicker? So I wanted to say something about that word you use. And the thing about cutting your toenails and what Linda said about for your man, she went off on that direction. That was great. The Japan, here's how they do it in Japan. You did research. It shows you're knowledgeable. Even though you have a brain injury, you're very, very competent anyway. So you see, I'm taking it all away from the fact that you're talking about a toilet bowl and urinating and having a leak. So, you know, you might like this kind of humor, and I'm saying I'm prejudiced against it and I have a bias. And I also know they say to me, you'll never get on Letterman unless you're squeaky clean, but Letterman's not even here anymore. But you know, I don't like to, that wasn't even meant for a joke. But when I go to the senior center, some of the people have innuendo. They might be making jokes about leaking. The adults, seniors, 80 years old, they might find this humorous. I have a saying, Linda might have heard me, and then I'm done with this part. Catherine, I have a saying that says, you went to school for at least 12 years. You sat there every day for 9 months. There are other subjects to talk about besides what I call toilet humor. I just have this thing about that. Like, people talk about sex, jerking off, body parts. And I say, there's so much else in the world. There's so many other subjects. And like when you said in Japan, that's what I'm talking about. So I think I'm done. I hope that made a difference for you. And it doesn't take away from your humor at all. You know, I'd have to hear the whole set again, all the jokes again to go back and dissect them and set a punchline or anything like that. I'm done.
That's awesome. Great information. And yeah, we all sit there and watch shows, mics, YouTubes, and we have our own prejudice feeling of what we would say, how we would do everything different or better. And like I said, I hint at stuff. I don't go directly to it usually unless, like I feel like the word will help the joke. Like it won't be the crux of the joke, but maybe like a tag or after the laugh to get an additional. I don't want the shocking part to be what the whole joke rests on. That's where, like, the thing that bothers me is when would the joke be funny without the talking about a toilet or talking about a vagina, or,
Right.
if the joke would be funny without using the words, then having the word in there just adds to it. So you can keep that in mind.
Well,
So,
I appreciate the comments, and I often would prefer not being so in your face, but I guess my brain just, that's where it goes, since sometimes I have no control of where it goes, even though I should. And
it's like you don't have a filter sometimes.
Well, a lot of times I don't have a filter. But so I like the more subliminal, as you said, and the Japan thing for me. I don't like the toilet humor, the actual. I think I had a comedian and he
can't. There's background noise. I think Helaine fell. She's doing DB Cooper again.
She shut off her sound though.
No, my fan. I shut my fan. I shut myself on mute.
Thank you. That's cool.
So he mentioned to me that I couldn't do his show because I was a little vulgar, and I said, I don't think that that I'm any more vulgar than you, because you talk about what comes out of your bottom.
Thank you.
And I find that vulgar. Personally, I don't really want to know what your feces look like.
Exactly. But and then what is vulgar? And everybody has a little bit of it in their set to salt and pepper it up.
Well, and so that was that was something that for me, I said, you know, this is a bit of an oxymoron. You can be vulgar, you can be gross, in my opinion, and I can't speak matter of factly, you know, about something. Uh, but for me, Helene's suggestion about, you know, and I have tried using it that way. I just sometimes get off on a tangent. Did you, like, FYI, did you know that in Japan they have toilets that do everything? They not only wipe, but they blow dry. And here we are in America sitting on plastic seat covers that crack when you're cutting your toenails. I had to go buy a new one the other day going into your, and I don't even have to talk about the fact that I have
Yes.
that I'm leaking, because
Yes.
that's not the important.
Beautiful.
To me,
Beautiful.
the important thing is to try and figure out how to go into the fact that we're inventing some pretty trashy stuff, and
That's great.
I'm
Helaine, look,
I'm suffering because of it. So this was a big help there, that's for sure.
Helaine looks like
Well, you
she's
know,
ready to say something.
yeah, I really appreciate what you said, that somebody said that you talked about toilet humor, right? That's what you said. Someone said that to you?
Well, they said I was vulgar, but they were the ones talking about what was coming out of there.
Oh, how do you like
Not
that?
me. You
You
know, not
know,
me.
when I met you, what struck me about you, as soon as you said Belmont Racetrack, didn't I say to you, you were thrown from a horse? I was admiring you the minute you told me that. That's what, you know, that's what your comedy could be about. I'm a hero. I've got thrown from a horse. You had a lot of accidents from what I remember. That's what struck me about you. Wow. She rode horses. There's all the stuff you told me you did that blew me away. And I remembered you that minute. I'd like to hear comedy about that. We could go back to the toilet and the leakage. You know, just because you leak doesn't mean that's what your comedy has to be about. You know, I had a husband who left me, you know, he ripped me off. Nobody even knows that about me. It just hasn't come up in my comedy. You know what I mean? So yes, it's important to you. And yes, you might put it aside for the sake of the clean set and let people admire you for your big successes in life. You know, Linda says I was a veteran. All the comics she interviews, what do? Look at their face the minute she says, I'm a veteran who's vetting. And whenever she gives her intro, why do we give an intro, Catherine? What's our purpose in giving an intro? That was a question.
She's asking you a question like a school teacher.
Yeah, I know. I'm so that the audience can get to know a little something about where we've been,
And it sets up a listening and an admiration. When Linda says, I'm a veteran, I can tell you most, if not most, maybe some, a lot, say, wow, you're a veteran. You know, my coach, George, told me to say the first thing I talk about is I was a school teacher in New York City, because he wants me to have something people not admire so much as, oh, she has this profession. She has some, what's that word I'm looking for, Linda? See, I don't even know that, and I'm a school teacher. She has some, you know,
Credentials.
yeah. So that's why I'd like to hear that. Now I'm thinking of Mrs. Hughes, you know, Carol Hughes, Mrs. Hughes, the comic. Yeah. You know, she talks about the gynecologist. She talks about leakage, but I don't know. I don't know why I'm bringing that up like an inquiry right now. But for you, I'd like us to work on some of your brilliant successes and the things I admired about you right away. Wow, she was at Belmont Racetrack, and then she fell off a horse. My God, you really got hurt. That's what I remember. Okay, I'm done with my spiel.
No, it's beautiful. So the thing, you have great material that you came up with, and I think there's fabulous way to deliver it. So that's what I had said earlier, is just my way. And I can see little pockets in there where I would dig in. If I hear the audience laugh, I would, you know, like, yep, ladies, you know, you sit on the toilet and you put half your body weight on the bathtub ledge to cut your toenails. You know, don't act like you don't think it's important. You know, you sneak in when your man's asleep. You got to have all your toenails perfect. It's such a mundane thing that people will laugh. So obscure, you know. I don't understand why if 100 pounds of me is on the bathtub ledge and only 100 pounds is on the toilet seat cover, why does the toilet seat cover break? Who invented this? Was it the man that's in my bed sleeping? Is this a prank? Is he making toilet seats covers, you know, on the sly? And I don't know. Who would do this to a woman? You can make it all about like the men are trying to do us women in. You can go anywhere with this stuff forever. You could just talk forever about it. Such
I
good
think
material.
she was. I think
Yeah.
she was saying the men. Look at, oh, a man did that.
Well, I'd like to say to Helaine, I love the encouragement about going into, introducing myself maybe in a little bit different light as opposed to someone with issues, where, I used to gallop racehorses in New York. And I think that's great advice. I've had a really hard time approaching certain or touching on certain things with life. And Linda, this is something that you can relate to as well. I have had a very hard time having the brain injury funny.
Totally.
And it's not that it isn't funny, because it really is funny, but it's something I guess I have a hard time remembering to talk about, or I'm avoiding talking about it. And I don't know, if we were to get into psychoanalysis, I could probably come up with, well, there are a lot of things I've conveniently forgotten.
Well, lucky
So,
you have to. Lucky you don't have to. And if you don't talk about it, you don't have to. But it sounds like, Linda does and she doesn't. Sometimes she says, I'm done talking about it. But she talked about it for the first few years and she's forgotten her lines. And, you have, it looks like you might have, and now I'm not trying to be a shrink, but it looks like you were ready to cry or you have sadness about it. And you don't have to talk about it if it doesn't work for you to talk about it. But admire yourself.
right.
Admire yourself for,
Helaine, you're cutting in and out.
yeah, there's music in. Somebody won the slot machine or something. Anyway,
You're both in casinos?
no, I heard music. It's
No,
probably anyway. I'm not. So
Okay.
what was
we're
I
gonna
saying?
argue.
So you have a choice. You don't have to talk about the brain injury. You can, and you
Right.
don't have to. And as far as why you do and why you don't, let's put that aside. We're not
Right.
even doing
Well, that's
that.
not
Yeah,
right.
no, but you could. But you could even, that could be your subject, Catherine. Sometimes I sit there and I analyze. Why don't you want to talk about it? Why don't you want to make comedy about it? That could be a subject in itself.
Okay.
Sometimes I cry. Sometimes I laugh. People say to me, why don't you make jokes about your brain injury? And you could have that as your subject like you do your leakage.
Yeah. Well,
Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't.
Yeah.
Sometimes I analyze. Why don't you? Why do you? People tell me I should. People tell me I shouldn't. There's a subject in itself.
Yeah. Well, and for me, all the wondering that I do, I think is a result of, because I never used to sit and wonder about who made this and what kind of asshole were they, right? And since I guess since the brain injury, when I'm getting to the stage where I can think and I can see well enough to research things, I'm like, what is going on in this world? And I'm not working all the time, right? Because when you work all the time, your brain is occupied with those tasks. And so,
When I've done material on stage regarding a brain injury, Helaine is perfectly right that when I tend to do material about a brain injury, it's like pushing a rope up a hill for me. it might be easy for you to get an audience to laugh.
Yeah.
First of all, you have to get them to want to hear it. They're paying money to have a babysitter to go out at night, hopefully to get each other in a good mood to go home and have sex. And you're up there sharing a trauma and taking them out of joy, telling them, listen, this is real stuff. You know, I have a brain. And I haven't found a way to really make it that funny. I get laughs, but I think they're sympathy laughs. And
Yeah.
then I try to go into and I want to just say that what Helaine said earlier about starting off leading with something that is a credential is far more helpful in comedy, because when I quit leading with I have a brain injury where they feel like you're pandering and hoping for sympathy laughs, when I dropped all that material, even though it's true and it's a big part of my life, I started remembering my lines and getting more laughs.
Okay.
So I don't know. You can do whatever you like. You can talk about your brain. You can call yourself the brain injured comic and only talk about that, or never talk about it or anything. That's totally up to you. I couldn't do it. I got sick and tired of the audience looking like they don't want to hear it or they feel sorry for me.
And you won't get Snickers if you say, I used to train gallop horses at Belmont. However you said it, I groom, gallop, train award-winning horses. That puts you up on a pedestal like Seabiscuit on his statue. Right there, that brings you to a whole other stature just by saying that when you walk in. You don't even have to tell jokes about it, but that just put you in the listening. We call that in the listening of the audience. Wow. She used to train, groom, gallop horses. And doing that, she fell off one. Wow. I admire this person. I'm going to listen to this person rather than the word snicker.
Yeah. Well, now, Helaine, I use the word snicker because I'm a little modest. I hate to tell you other comics that people are laughing their ass off at me.
Oh, great. Okay, good. I had a problem with if that's all we're getting, and it taught me something because I don't even get that. They don't speak English, but they hate.
I am very modest. Plus, I also tend to get into a zone. There are times when I get off stage where I don't have a clue what I just said. And all I know is that I'm taking off of the audience and laughing, and I just keep going.
So you're killing it already, and your toilet humor, what I call toilet humor, is killing it. And here I am telling you to get rid of it.
She's getting booked on shows, and she got to open for somebody.
So, well, I just wrote a new opening, but it's not a limerick. To use Helaine's suggestion. So I used to spread my legs to make money for steak and eggs. I rode my way to where I am today. I'm barely standing up. Like I galloped racehorses for 10 years on the racetrack and another 10 years here in Kentucky on farms and horses that I own and a train. I learned a lot doing that.
Absolutely.
Like nobody knows how to make toilet seats.
So I'm not sure if there's a way to go from riding horses to toilet seats,
It's
but
all right.
you could talk about how your life used to be so big when you were riding horses. It was bigger than life, you know, and now it's about sitting on a toilet seat.
wondering what went wrong.
Because when you talk about opposites, you know, big, exaggerated, my life used to be this and now it's about this, you know, that can get a laugh as long as they don't presume that you're wanting sympathy.
Yeah. Well, so what about you? We're supposed to work on each other, not just on.
Yeah. Here's what I want to work on. I don't like punching down at people beneath me, Helaine and Catherine. I think it's a terrible thing to do on stage. However, This is literally what I'd want to say. I think, I get so sick and tired of comics that come up and they punch down at helpless people. I think it's ridiculous. We don't need to be doing that. I just kind of like a TED talk. I'll start off like it's a TED talk. However, have you noticed that every single argument you hear homeless people saying is just like the other ones? They're all whenever they get into a mode of yelling and screaming at each other, it's the exact same conversation you heard a block away with another married, like couple. And like just go into, oh, and you think it's funny to laugh at the homeless. I heard every time I hear rich people arguing at Gucci is the same thing. All rich people argue about the same thing, and just go into married people argue this way, single people argue that way, and just go into arguing. Because everybody argues, like everybody can relate to arguing. And I don't hear anybody talking about arguments. They talk about breakups and makeup sex, but like the argument, I think the tension that's inside of an argument and how very little people want to talk about an argument, there's material there. And I don't know how to bring it to life. And I need your guys' help. Both of you. Okay, you can start now.
You want to go first, Catherine?
You're good.
Okay. Catherine, do I have something to apologize for about the snicker word? Now that I know you killed?
No.
Okay. There's one other thing, Linda, before I help you, and I am going to help you. Catherine, I want to say another problem. I'm using the word problem, quote unquote. Sometimes people are eating dinner or they're eating at a comedy club and we're talking about subjects that, even if it's about a rat, even if I were to say, oh, the virus was caused by a dripping rat into other animals that they ate, whatever. Okay, so Linda, this is a great, fabulous premise. Arguing, the whole subject of arguing, I've never ever heard it. It's unique to me. So
somebody on here will probably steal it. One of these mothers that is on here listening will probably steal it now.
Do you have
great
mothers?
Idea.
Do you have mothers listening?
And they're truckers too.
Mother truckers. That's funny. So I think that's very funny what you said about arguing and the whole subject matter of arguing. So number one, that's really good. And the book that I used at comedy to help me write my jokes for Joan Rivers 400 years ago was by, what's his name? The one who wrote for Bob Hope and...
Oh, yeah.
Credit. That's why I'm saying it.
Perrette.
Yes, Jean Perrette. Very good, Linda. See how brain injury doesn't even exist. Jean Perrette. And it says how to buy and sell your sense of humor. And he says put on the left side, put all the words that have to do with arguing. And on the right side, colloquialisms, idioms about arguments, or in this case, maybe peace or harmony or not arguing, because maybe there aren't that many quotes about arguing like there are with dogs, which he uses in his book. So that's what I would do first. And then you cross them like, so you're going to talk about couples argue, friends argue, people who are drunk argue, people on drugs. I live in New York City. Well, not right in the city, Catherine, but I go and I hear drug addicts. They tend to argue with each other. I don't know why. So that's something I noticed, that they get into these arguments. So you're talking about who's arguing, Linda. I don't care if it's a married couple, if it's a landlord tenant, if it's in a courthouse. So you could like start out and then you want a triple maybe. It could be a husband, wife, son, mother, and then the third one could be something funny. Catherine, could you think of a funny triple for Linda?
A comedian with a comedian.
With a heckler, right?
Yeah,
a comedian
with a heckler.
Very good. So Linda, like two comics, and that'll make people laugh because the comics are there. A comic and a heckler like you people. So that's funny right there. That's a joke. So now you go, Catherine. What could Linda do with this arguing conversation?
Thank you, Helaine, for moderating my show.
You're
Back
such
to you, Tim.
You are
That's
so
what we say in our show. Back
sarcastic.
to you, Tim.
We give it to each other really badly. This is how we do it. Okay, back to you.
I
We
actually
argue.
did hear some of that.
She's doing DB Cooper again.
Oh, actually,
I'm arguing.
I recently heard a comic approach the subject of arguing. He didn't go very far into it, and I can't remember quite what he said, but it was sort of the stupid way he heard two people arguing, and he didn't make it very funny. But so I think that Helaine's suggestions are great in how you can, do a triple time, and I think that's great. But it's also how inane arguing can be. So many people are like, I did not, you did too, I did not, no you didn't, and it's like there's no proof. If you're going to argue something and you're trying to win an argument, you gotta have proof that you're right. And typically we're arguing over opinion.
Over what?
A lot of times we're arguing over opinions from memory. Well, you said that. That isn't what I said, but it is what you said. And it's so easy to misinterpret how what we intend to say. I think for you, or I know for me, sometimes I don't say what I think I said, or someone heard it totally different. I'm like, where the fuck did you hear that?
I love that. Those are great. Like those would be on the left side of the column that Helaine was talking about.
Yeah.
And on the right side would be like things like she said, like peace, harmony, and using a triplet joke, like, a son and a mom and a husband and a wife and a priest and a candle sniffer. They might argue or not.
Yeah.
What's a candle sniffer, Linda? An altar boy?
Altar boy.
Oh my goodness.
I never heard that candle sniffer.
I should say altar boy. That would lose all the Catholics in the audience and get the Jews on my side.
Oh, Zuckerberg's gonna ban you from Facebook now. You're on Facebook Live.
And did you say sniffer or snuffer?
I meant snuffer and I said sniffer.
Oh, snuffer.
That's funny because I could tag the altar boy with, the snuffer. Well, sometimes there's sniffing going on.
Yeah. That's good.
Helaine, what do you want to work on my show that you moderate from
That's
below with DB Cooper down there?
Well, I was just giving other people a turn.
I am from way down there. Are you down in like Antarctica? And now today from Australia.
I'm on Yuhan East. Yuhan East. You know what that means, Catherine?
No.
Here goes Zuckerberg taking you off Facebook. I'm in a neighborhood that people travel back and forth to Yuhan, China.
Oh.
They're 8.8 miles from the epicenter of this pandemic. No pressure buying groceries, none at all. Uh-oh, that guy who touched that melon before me, all of a sudden my throat's closing up. I'm having some pains and coughing. Maybe I shouldn't have touched that melon after he touched it. No pressure. The first time I went to a store, Catherine, my phone got run over, so I had to go into a store, and I felt so weird to be in a closed store. Like this was just like a month or two ago, and I was flipping out, and the boy goes, calm down, ma'am. And he was calling me, there are plenty of elderly people who come in here, something like that. Like he used a word that he never should have used. But I said, I'm just like crazy. I'm in a closed store. I thought you'd come out to the sidewalk to sell me a phone. I'm flipping out. Somebody used your bathroom. I was crazy. He has the punchline. He says, Don't worry, ma'am. How do you think I feel? I live in Elmhurst, Queens. That's where the epicenter was, that hospital. I said, saying that was the worst thing you could possibly say right now. And I was like, so crazy with him. I bought the $1,100 phone, and then I went next door to Dunkin' Donuts. I said, you know that kid who works next door? Because he had just opened the store with the keys in the door, and I approached him. I said, you know that kid next door? What does he like to eat? Whatever he likes, you know, even if it's lunch, espresso, whatever he likes to drink and eat, give him that and I'll bring it next door. Like I was apologizing, and he walked in because he had just walked in the store. So he walks in the Dunkin' Donuts, he sees me, and I go, whatever it is you like, you're already getting it. I bought it for him.
Aw.
'Cause that
Helaine,
was- I'm done.
I want you to say something you're working on so Catherine can show you how smart she is, and I can too.
Yeah. Well, how about that, Catherine? Is that funny?
It's funny, but only because you've explained a whole lot of it.
There you go.
Because I didn't know about the Hunan East, and then you talk about how it was very close to the epicenter, and then going into that store, and I can see how you would be really, being that close, and then him telling you. So the giving me the upfront story really helped. So don't forget
it's not
that.
Hunan, it's Yuhan, China, Yuhan. And there is no such thing as Yuhan East. I made it up just now. But thank you for making it funny by saying Hunan East.
Is that material you're working on, or were you just filling her in on something?
Yeah, I was filling you in on where I am and thinking of a funny story. Linda knows how I go off on things.
So do you want to make that funnier, or do you want to make something else funny?
Yeah, I could make it into a bit. My comedy class was the day I went in, I wanted my phone to work right away because I was in comedy school. So everybody was part of the situation. I had it on the class, like the Zoom was there with me, and I went, here's the kid who's working here. I'm in class right now. I want my phone right away. I thought that was, yeah.
Well, just so you don't feel too badly, I dropped my phone when I was through blowing the clarinet, and it cracked. My whole screen cracked this morning, and I said, Jesus.
Oh.
Bummer.
If it works anyway, it's just annoying. With me, I couldn't use it because I ran over it. A car ran it over, I think.
Oh my.
Yeah, outside.
While you're in comedy class, on the Zoom comedy class, on your way in to buy a new phone. So.
I was on my way to buy a charger, bought the charger, went back to the car, and I was double parked, and it must have fallen out of my pocket while I was running in to get the charger. And I come back in, I say to him, I need more than a charger now. I need a whole phone. Could I have my money back for the charger because I need a different phone? The charger was $59.99 in one of those little white fancy boxes.
Yeah.
That's a lot for a little charger.
The Apple chargers.
I had no idea it cost so much.
Apple screws us. So that's more money down the toilet, isn't it?
It makes me wonder about the phrase "an apple a day." Who can afford it?
Yeah, really.
Linda, write that down. That's a good joke for you. That's cute for your routine.
Where would I fit it in? And we're working on you right now.
Yeah.
And no, just write it. I'll help you with it later.
What about for you, Helaine? An apple
Yeah.
a day. Here you were going in to get a charger. Your Apple charger. Make sure you say, I had to get an Apple. My Apple wasn't working, right?
For a Microsoft.
Yeah, right. And then and you're getting an Apple for the day to help get you through the day, turns into $1,000 worth of apples.
Yeah, I think you should
Yes,
use it.
He said to me, you already owe $200 on this phone. I said, I do? Because I guess it comes out of my credit card and I didn't even know it.
Well, look at all those apples just adding up to your overall health and well-being.
And you know what else I pay for? I pay for all these things I don't know what they are, like Apple, what do you call that? Apple something?
Apple Care.
Yeah, there's something I'm paying for. I'm paying for the TV. I never watch. $140 a month.
Is that with Apple or is that cable
No,
company?
I'm just sharing my grief.
That's with Apple. Apparently, Apple has her on the
Apple
automatic withdrawal. They tap into her bank account, take everything.
So your cell phone is overdrawn.
Is that a joke?
Yeah, it's for you if you want it. He said
My
it
cell
was.
phone is overdrawn.
Yeah, I had no idea my cell phone was overdrawn.
And he called me elderly. Isn't that a riot, that word he used?
Especially when you're so young.
He thought he was being nice by going, look, plenty of elderly people come in here during the pandemic. I said, do you know that was a very insulting thing? And you tried to be nice and you just said the most insulting word. That's so funny to me because I'm a comedian, but it was really funny.
It's hilarious.
Oh, well, we've been going almost an hour.
I know. Let's just finish up with a couple thoughts to help Helaine. How do you see that she could do this bit on stage? Do you see a way she could start and lead into something else? Like go from this point to that point? Because I can see something. I'm really good at helping Helaine be funnier. She loves my input.
Especially when you say it like that.
I see her being able to take it and make it a really funny bit.
I do too.
Especially, if she started off with, well, I needed a new charger. And so, and this was 3 months ago at the beginning of the pandemic, I was still risking going out. We didn't have to wear masks everywhere. And I go to the store, I buy the charger, easy peasy. I get out, I'm double parked. Who would have thought it? I go to get in the car and I can't find my phone. Shit, it fell outside and the guy parked next to me fucking ran over it. So I had to go back.
Funny.
This Apple's killing me. This Apple stuff. I had to go back in and buy a phone. And this guy calls me elderly. He says, I'm all nervous, right? Because now, I've been in this store twice and it's the first store I've been in since the pandemic started. And keep going with that. And yeah.
And he says, you think you're nervous? I'm from Elmhurst.
Oh,
Oh God.
That's a really good story.
yeah.
It's got a lot of laughing points.
Yeah.
And there's an old man he seemed older than me sitting there and I go, I'm not allowed to be so close to this guy. And then the guy says, could I use your bathroom? And I go, now that he's done with the bathroom, don't you want to go in there and clean it? I mean, it's a bathroom and it's your bathroom at your store. Don't you have to go clean it right away? I was nuts.
Well, I'm done.
There's one other thing I want to say before you go. Helaine, when you do that story, I think it's a very additionally funny thing to expand on. The Zoom class is there with you and they're listening.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you. I wrote that. I said I'm
they're-
late for my class. And then I had my class there like reality TV.
like you could act out like there's this guy and he's probably writing a joke about it and like this is your bit, this is what you're going through, and they're hearing it and they're trying to write jokes about it in the class and you're like no Steven Tyler, this is my I paid money for this to be mine. You could almost tie it in with the Steven Tyler wanting you to sing into the microphone when you're paying $100 to hear him in the nosebleed section.
Catherine doesn't get that, but I get it.
Yeah, she's it's the best thing. Can you tell her before she goes?
Yeah. So when you go to a concert today, like Rod Stewart, he holds the microphone out to the audience. He wants us to sing the entire Maggie May song. Wake up, Mag, that whole song, he puts the microphone. No, Rod Stewart. I paid $100 for you to sing Maggie May to me. See how Linda Linda laughs hysterically. That's what I'm talking about. Linda laughs at my jokes. But if you have to go, I'd like to stay and help Linda with what she wanted help with.
No, I
But
don't
I'm
have
sure
to
you want to
go.
wrap it up, Linda. I'm not telling you what to do.
I'm good. We can just finish now. You got some help, Helaine. Catherine's evidently satisfied. I got help, and we're good.
Yeah, and we can do this again and maybe get more people. This was very helpful for me. I really enjoyed it. And as I told you, the woman, I thought it was for the 15th, and the woman I had scheduled to come on, I called, I hit her up to come today, and her bathroom sprung a leak.
Maybe we can do it on the 15th.
So-
Remind me, because I have a brain injury.
I'll repost your post that has it on for the 15th because it's your post.
Maybe Helaine needs to remind both of us. This was a lot of fun.
I think this is a great thing. Helaine and you were extremely helpful with me, and
you were helpful with us.
And I hope I was. It's like for me when I first started doing poetry and doing workshops, I had a very difficult time putting in input because I really didn't know that much, and also I wasn't. I was a little shy or not confident with myself. But I find even now in talking to you two that if I don't understand something, you as the performer needs to know that I'm not understanding what you're saying. And I might be 2 or 3 people in the audience as well.
Yes.
That helps you. So I'm not as afraid anymore.
Good.
Open my mouth.
Whenever, I like to take a joke and practice it on somebody who knows me and say, I'm working on a joke. What do you think of this? And they get a second. And then they'll say, well, I don't understand. If they don't laugh, they'll ask a question because they are your friend. And they'll say, what did you mean? And then you go back to that part of the joke and fix it.
Well, and that's something that I don't have here at all. But I have here on the Zoom, so that, I was able to say, this is something that, I thought about working with, and, I've brought it in, but not in a complete format. And so with your input, both of you, hopefully, I can come back and say, okay, it hit. I did it at an open mic and it hit, and I'm going to work on remembering it and doing it again and again.
Can't wait to hear it. And maybe when we come back if we come back on the 15th, maybe we can come back with our bits and have worked on them a little bit.
Yeah.
And then come up with something else we want to work on too on top of it.
You post a lot of one-liners, is that right?
Yeah.
And some of them I think are extremely funny, and others are like, oh, wait a moment, what is she?
Yep.
And I don't know if the reason you post them is so that you'll remember them, so they're archived. You think of it, you post it. But some of them I've really enjoyed, and but
I've heard that from the day I started comedy, that only half of my stuff is funny, and I don't really care because I'm really just working on my material on Facebook, and later I'll go back and go, oh my gosh, I can't believe I wrote that. That's terrible. And then I'll rewrite it.
Yeah.
And people notice, they go, you're working so hard. I heard you say that joke 6 months ago, and now you've made it so much funnier, or you combined it with this thing. So people watch and they notice the progress. But yeah, I get it. I see when there's no likes.
So does Helaine, do you teach a Zoom comedy writing class?
Helaine, are you there?
No, I don't. Linda teaches comedy. I do not teach. I go to a class where we help each other. We have breakout rooms 6 days a week, 5 months, 6 days a week, 2 hours a day for 5 months.
Oh my God.
She does a lot.
Yeah, for free.
No.
For free.
Yeah.
There are tons of places she goes to that are all free. There's a couple things that you can get into that cost money. You know, like every city has a few. So yeah, you can hit Helaine up for some things she does or whatever. But yeah, Helaine,
Okay,
did
well,
you freeze up on us?
I'm going to send Helaine a friend
Yeah.
request if she's all right with that.
Yeah, she's fine with it.
Okay.
The longer we're on the air, the
Knowing
more
me, I already friended you, I bet.
Oh,
the longer we're on the air, the better her hair looks and her makeup. Have you
I
noticed
know.
that? She ducks down and
I
comes.
didn't do the makeup, but you know, Catherine, one of the jokes I have is true. I end up naked sometimes on Zoom, and it's like just now I walked over my phone. I went, "That's how you get naked on Zoom." What you just did. You're not on mute. You're not on shut your video, and you just walked over your phone. That's how you got caught in front of Bruce naked that day.
You guys, this has been awesome. I'm gonna sign out.
Yeah, I have to go and mow.
No,
so-
Linda, I didn't help you with yours yet.
Yeah, you did. You told me to make a two columns,
Oh,
the
okay.
left and the right, and you gave me all kinds of thoughts, like Zoom. I wrote my piece of paper and put it somewhere. I wrote everything down. I'm gonna work on it, and when we come back,
Okay, I said I'd help you because I okay.
you said idioms, peace, harmony, solution, go to bed angry, friends, drinks, landlord, tenant. I got all kinds of help. I got to go work on it, and we'll come back next time and work on it more. Okay?
All right, keep us posted when the
Okay.
next time
Okay.
is.
On the
See-
15th. What time did I say on the 15th, Catherine? I lose everything. It's two brain injured people helping each other.
This time, 11 to 12.
Okay,
And
perfect.
if your vaginal leakage gets a lot of laughs, keep it.
Nice
Those are my
callback.
parting words. Yeah,
Nice callback, Helaine. Way to steal the show again.
but I meant it. No, I meant it, Linda,
I know it.
because I told you she was having
I'm
Snickers.
kidding.
I'm not on it.
Bye, you guys. Thank you
Bye.
so much. Bye, Facebook. Love you guys.
And you'll send this to us?
Send what? The
The
video? Yeah,
yeah.
I'll get it turned into a sitcom version and then it'll come out. But it's there right now today and you can go click share.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Bye, Catherine. Love you. Love you, Helaine.
Bye, Elaine.
Everybody's talking.